Final question from me. I guess it's more of an idea than it is a question. I've always liked the idea of candidates or reps being as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
And it would be really cool to see if candidates publish their diaries after the fact. So obviously before the fact is dangerous from a security.
Oh, their official diaries, you mean?
Official diaries, that's
Yeah.
right. So that I just like the idea to be able to, one, I think there's a lot of misperception around, it's just very easy to pull down people in Parliament now and say you're a rotten person, you're a rotten job. But actually it's a really tough job. It's a really tough job. The amount of work that each of them put in, even if we think they're rotten, and all of them are. But there is a huge amount of work. What they actually have to do in that role is significant. I'd like to be able to see, let's say, because my representative is Ken White, I'd like to see who he's meeting with. I don't need to see the agenda. I don't need to see, but I would actually like to see what's going on. I think that is I need a better word for ballsy. I think that is a very assertive decision to set yourself at a certain example. And I think by leading by example in that kind of transparency is quite compelling. What are your views on it? Because obviously it's not, you don't want to hold yourself to this purist perspective so that it ends up biting you in the ass because inevitably you're playing the same game as them until you're able to change it. But there is also an equally compelling argument that could be made that it would be easier for the newer parties to set a different example in terms of how they hold themselves to account.
I think it's a great idea. I don't think anybody in our party would have any hesitation publishing their diaries because we'd have nothing to be ashamed of. At the same time, I realise that when you give detail, you give opportunity for people to pick up one of those details and spin it and twist it and lie about it and do all sorts of things with it. But I don't think you can run scared. They're going to do that. Even if you hide away in a cupboard, they're going to do that. So you might as well put your diary out there and accept the fact that there will always be 10 or 20% of the population who hate your guts for whatever crazy reason they have, and nothing's ever going to change that. And they will seize on the opportunity that, I met with the New Guinea Prime Minister to suggest some absurd thing about, that I don't like Indonesia enough, or, I met with the Indonesians, so I'm against New Guinea, or some crazy thing like this. But they'll do that anyway in some form or another. And if they can't find something in our diary, they'll just make it up. Trump has taught us that, Yeah. So I'm happy to give you an undertaking now that I would do that. It's just not a problem.